Thank you. I just want to first say congratulations to Mike and his staff and the entire Nicholls program, and for a school and a program that a couple years back went through a tough time with the hurricanes coming through. It's really cool. That's a program we will all be rooting for going forward. That's a really good ball club over there. So congratulations to them on a heck of a season. This was a grind. This was a tough one today. Those guys didn't stop. They were fun to play against and really hard to play against. And then what Joe did today was kind of silly again. That was fun to watch. And Henry Leake was able to settle that thing down when Flinny had to come out, and that was really, really a key to that baseball game. Even in the third, getting us right in with 2 runs there, but getting us in the dugout quickly, I think, was a huge key to that baseball game. That's all I got.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll go ahead. Let's do questions for student athletes first, so we'll go ahead and start with that.
Joe Healy, D1 Baseball. Joe, safe to say this is the best you've been seeing the ball? I mean, how's this compared to other hot streaks you've had throughout your baseball career?
Yeah, I feel really good right now. Kind of what Coach and I talk about. I know I'm hitting home runs, but it's not something I try and do. It's kind of keep the approach like I'm a line drive hitter, and whatever happens, happens. And I'm just kind of trying to keep it simple right now. So I think that's key.
Yeah, I mean, you get intentionally walk there. How gratifying is it just as a teammate to see Nick pick you up in that way and have that, backfire on him the way it did?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Whenever they do that, I know that Nick Wang's going to have my back. Even going back to yesterday, he hit the ball on the screw, just good placement. But, yeah, I know Nick Wang, he's a great hitter, and I know he has my back no matter what. So.
Yeah, Henry, you come in that spot, obviously tough given the circumstances there. What are your expectations for yourself when you come into a situation like that?
Yeah, obviously I want to limit the damage and just get through the inning clean. Unfortunately, they put some balls in play and they had 2 runs scored, but still got through the inning, didn't give up any hits or extra base runners, so I was happy with just settling it down and letting our bats get to work after.
Henry, obviously with the final score ending what it was, maybe this moment gets lost, but I'm curious from your perspective, when Joe hits the solo home run to put you all at 4-3, I mean, was that as big a moment in the dugout as it felt kind of in the press box for me, where it kind of put the wind at your back?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, those home runs are game-changing. The momentum completely shifts, and from then on, we can just ride that wave throughout the rest of the game. So those are huge, huge moments. Home runs, biggest momentum change you can have. So,
Joe, the situation y'all are in now, it's just a grind. You have to come back tomorrow again, late in the afternoon. It's going to be hot and whatever else. What is it going to take for you guys to be able to make a run and potentially win a couple games tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of used to it. I think things have been tough on us before, and we thrive in that, honestly. It's kind of our whole attitude and mindset. So I think we're all looking forward to tomorrow and just one game at a time. We got one to win first, and then hopefully we'll get to the next one. But first one first.
Coach?
Anything else for student athletes?
No.
Okay, you guys are dismissed. Thank you very much. Joe, you go ahead.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
Coach, first of all, are you surprised that Joe is still getting that many strikes to hit?
Is it fair to say, let me hold off on answering that question until after our last game of the weekend?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's scary. I mean, even last night, when last night's inning was shaping up, and I looked at Nick, and I said, they're going to walk him to get to you. Like, you could just see it coming up, even though it was going to put the tying run a second. And then before that one today, Nick was coming up as that inning was playing out, and I looked at him, he goes, they're going to do it again. I said, yeah, they are. But then it's, if Nick and Cam starting to hit the swing the bat really well again, if those guys start doing some damage, then you start having some tougher decisions.
Yeah.
But it just, every ball he hits, it just doesn't stop.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be pretty rare in your coaching career to have a guy who's just finding the barrel as consistently as he is right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, you got to start thinking back to, like, hot streaks that you have, like, the hot streaks of all hot streaks in your career that you've seen.
Yeah.
So, we say in our program, we're not superstitious, we're just a little stitious, so I don't want to talk about it too much.
Yeah. On the mound quickly, anything you could share with us, an update on Flynn and what the situation was there?
Yeah, it was, I think probably not quote me on it. I think because we checked them afterwards, maybe an oblique, it was kind of in this area. So I think where we stand now is questionable at best for this weekend. And I'm saying this with all due respect to Alabama and Troy. I'm not looking, but like, if we're able to get to next weekend, we think he would be available. And hopefully we get to next weekend.
And then you alluded to it, but how important Leake's outing just to kind of settle that game down? Because it looked like it was going to start to be one of those, kind of like y'all's game yesterday against Troy. It looked like it was headed that way, and he was able to change the game.
It had a feel, and you're not worried about the next 3 games, because there are no games if you don't lose this one. I mean, sorry, there are no other games if you lose this one, so you're not worried about it. But when your starter comes out in the second again, you start looking like there's a lot of innings to cover coming up. And that's why you talked about with even those 2 runs scoring, I said to him, I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, those 2 runs have scored. Just get us in the dugout. And if he felt like if you can get us in the dugout there, even a tie ball game, it's like we're fine. Like, but it was, and then he goes 3 zeros in a row. And you talked about Joe hitting the home run, let everybody breathe. It was just like, okay.
Yeah.
And then we were able to put the 5 spot. And so, no, it was massive. I mean, you start talking about, as it currently stands, MVPs of the weekend. You're talking obviously Joe, but Hank is going to be in that mix.
You kind of alluded to it, the fact that Nicholls didn't quit. I mean, in a tournament setting like this where you're counting, how many innings you have the rest of the weekend. So, I mean, how annoying is that to play a team that ends up with 16 hits? Like every offensive inning, it felt like they were doing something. It's just got to be tough in this kind of setting.
And that's a huge credit to Mike and his staff because, I mean, it was hot. I don't know how those guys were handling. Our guys started cramping. We started having to get some guys out. And it would have been very easy. And I know it's potentially the last game of the year, but it's easy at that point to kind of just like, and they didn't. All the way through the 9th.
Yeah.
So that's a real credit to those staff. And that's a really good ball club, man.
Well, no, you mentioned that. Was it with Peter? Was it just kind of getting him off his feet and getting him, hydrated and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, and I think he almost wanted to punch me in the face when I told him he was coming out of the game because that kid is as tough and as competitive as kid as you're ever going to find. But you could see it. And his at-bat before that, he got a little cramp in his back. And we just, hopefully, if everything goes well, we got another 27 innings to play. So, and also getting Adonis in there. I mean, he, again, with 27 innings, we're probably going to need him at some point. So it was good to get him in. And we were not packing in at any point because you could see, again, they put up 2 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th. But yeah, Peter he's got that heat out there beat him up pretty good. But like Joe said, I mean, this is a ball club that they thrive under that, and they're looking at tomorrow as just a great opportunity.
Okay, good. All right.
Awesome. Thank you all. Appreciate it.